things sumo.
That is right. And today we are going to be talking about days 1 through 3 of the March Basho 2025.
In Osaka.
Yep, which is super, super fun and turning out to be already a great basho. But before we get into that, there's a couple of things. One, we have a bingo game going on. And if you don't know about our bingo, you should play with us. It's a great way to get to learn sumo wrestlers and have a good time with other people who love sumo.
There's prizes like my homemade jam, and you get a gift card to spend on whatever merch you want from bigsumofan.com, who is a co-sponsor of our bingo tournament. And so, I mean,
it's super fun.
Super
it takes
fun.
A lot of skill and training and dedication to get the first bingo.
Yes. But if you do, the rewards can be nice. And also, we always reward the Magi Koshi and the Kachi Koshi winners. There's 2 chances to win. And then we still have, because we keep loving like giving out prizes, we always have runner-ups. So even after we have winners, people submit, and then their bingos go into a big drawing, and we still draw out a number to give them more money to spend at bigsumofan.com.
And if you send us a really creative card, sometimes we'll reward that with a prize too.
Yeah,
because if you make us laugh, we're going to give you something.
Yeah, a lot of people are artsy and craftsy, and I always love like when people, decorate their cards up with a little flair, a little creativity. Mm-hmm. So creativity.
Okay, but first, before we get into the sumo, we have a question from a listener. So I'll just read it to you. Okay. I think you're going to know the answer.
I don't know if
I know the answer.
I probably won't.
Okay, this one's from Jeremy Lewis in Massachusetts. And he says, I have a question after seeing a couple of Mono-e. Do the judges have some sort of video replay? I've never seen anything in the replays, but so much is cut out. I know. Love the podcast. Is one of the better parts of my workday. Best to you and yours. That's really, really sweet.
Thank you, Jeremy. That's so nice. I'm like, still, people listen to us like 4 years later. How long have we been doing this?
5 years. This is episode 250.
Have we really?
250 times we have sat in front of these microphones to talk about sumo. I know. I feel like we should be like celebrating. It's amazing.
I don't believe that.
Okay, we'll bring some champagne next week.
Okay, because that is... I cannot believe. And what that means is also, I'll get back to Jeremy's answer.
Okay.
But what that means is that that's just like an hour an episode, but no one really knows the hours it takes to kind of edit this stuff and like research and then promote. So this has been like a part-time job for both of us for the past 5 years.
Yeah, a passion project.
And
a good passion project.
And we love it. So thank you. Thank you to everyone who's continued to listen and support us and financially sends us a little tip. We always appreciate it. And thank you so much. Okay. So Jeremy, the answer is, okay, so they go up onto the doyo and then they hubbub. But I think that we learned that on headset, they connect up with former Rikishi who are on the team that does all of the, what's it called? My brain's not working.
They
today.
watch the slow-mo.
They watch the slow-mo and they determine. It's a judging committee. The judging committee. So there's like guys up there who are like, no, his foot rolled over. And so we're going to do a reversal of fortune here. So,
and they do watch the slow-mo.
Yeah.
And then they radio set. They radio set back down. They're like, over. We watched it. I'm sure they say over.
Over and out.
And absolutely, so-and-so's foot had turned over. Yeah.
Hopefully they have better audio than that, but you never know. They might all be on walkie-talkie. But that's what I know. But no, they're not like in the circle, like watching like a little video going. I actually don't know what they talk about, and we probably will never know. Some of them are like, hey, I'm going to go out afterwards and I'm going to get some ramen. Anybody else want me to pick them up something while we're waiting for them to decide up in the booth? And then they go back down, sit down, and then one of the head judges the head shimpan makes a decision on microphone.
Yeah. Y'all can send us questions anytime you like. We love answering them.
Yeah, if we'll be able to answer them.
But we try. But one other thing I want to mention before we get into our sumo, we got a wonderful email from Dave and Terry, and they always have a basho kickoff party. They invite all their friends over and they have Japanese food, and it's like day 1 of the basho, and that's how they celebrate it. And so they sent us really lovely pictures, and they tried to make mochi, which they said was like much harder and like doesn't look right, but much harder than they would have ever thought. And so right now we're looking at those photos on our screen. That's them trying to make the mochi.
They put the beans, the sweet beans inside, Zuki beans.
But they invited like 6 friends over and they watched a video about how to make the mochi. What a great way to spread the love of sumo.
How cool.
Yeah, it's really fun.
There's a whole world of us all over the world, really, that are the weird people in the office that talk obsessively about sumo and everybody else just tunes out. We're out there, but we are advocating for sumo, more sumo coverage, more sumo fandom, just more sumo. So find more people that are sumo curious and throw them a party.
Here's
right?
what Dave and Terry serve. They said we had our favorites: chanko, sushi, dumplings, toasted sesame tofu, fried chicken, and the like, along with their mochi. They said they're up in Nebraska, so they said it was too cold to be outside. They weren't able to don their mawashis and headbands and go full speed with giant wooden hammers outside making the mochis. But their neighbors would never understand what they were doing anyway.
Yeah.
Anyway, I just thought I'd share that. I love getting emails like that. I just want to share them.
Too. And yeah, finding out somebody listens to us is just icing on the cake at
Right?
this point. Love it. Thank you for sharing that. I guess
news or day one, you pick it, whatever you want.
The news is all Basho related, but I will say our very beloved Hakuho turned 40 years old on March 11th.
Oh, did he? I didn't realize that. 40.
Yes, 40. He's officially over the hill, and that's a good thing.
No, you're still a baby.
It's a good thing.
I'm going to tell you from experience, you are still a baby.
Yeah, but
Hakuho.
what I'm about to say is that his mom called him and said it's a good thing because that in Mongolia is like being 60 years old, and with age comes wisdom, and so it's celebrated in that fashion. Like the older you get in Mongolia, like the better it is, and not how we spin it negatively here and like, oh, we're over the hill. So congratulations to Hakuho. 40 years young.
Yep. Good job.
Yes. Okay, now are you ready for day one? Day one.
We should do this. Ha ha.
Day one. I think Hiro would be proud of that.
I think he would too.
Okay, let's talk about day one. This is our 74th Yokozuna Hoshoryu, and his very first Doyo Iri.
Yeah, what'd you think?
In a basho, in a tournament.
What'd you think?
He did a great job.
I did too.
Yeah, I thought he did a great job.
Yeah, he looks the part all of a sudden, doesn't he?
Yeah, I mean, he's been filling out for the last few years, so he's getting thicker and thicker and looking more and more like his uncle. But yeah, I think he's got a good look about him.
Yeah.
He did it lovely.
Remember when he used to just be the new skinny kid on the block?
Yeah, and we're like, good luck.
And look at him
Look at him now, boy.
Like powerful, all muscle.
Yes.
Yes. Looks really good.
Okay, so what do I remember about day one? Okay, I remember that there was a really unusual kimarite that was used with Asakoryu, who I love, and up close and personal, we did see him. He has a lot of hair, and I've talked a lot about this, but he looks like a doll because his head and his hair is like absolutely perfect, but he's
our size.
He's kind of tiny on the sumo wrestler side of things. So it's just all head. Anyway, I've become a fan of him because mainly his looks, but he went up against, I guess it was Sadanaumi, a veteran, and he pulled this really cool, it was like a Okuri Hiki Otoshi, like it was something like a rear hand pull down, crush out, flip flop, whatever. It was really beautiful and creative, but you usually see Ura do that. You usually see some of the other wrestlers that are known for kind of their trickier maneuvers that you can never really know when they're going to pull them out. And I think Asakoryu is somebody to kind of keep tabs on. I think he might be somebody that's small and sneaky, and it's going to be kind of fun to watch him.
Not to take anything away from Asakoryu because he's incredibly fast and talented and muscular. Yes. He deserves to be up there in this top division. I love watching him. However, I do think sometimes people win by just awkward falls. And sometimes I wonder, was that on purpose? Or was that just was everybody just falling? And you just happened to be the last man standing? And that was the one for me on day one. I was like, was that a fall? I think maybe that was an accidental win. But, but that's okay.
It could have been a slippy otoshi of some type. I needed to rewatch, which I didn't, but it was Aonishiki versus Chiranoumi. But I won't really break this down other than we are cheering on Aonishiki and totally team Aonishiki. He lost this bout, but I bring it up only because it was very exciting. He has cat-like reflexes. He managed in this bout to stay on his feet, move all around, be at the Tawada on the edge, be looking like he's going to be pushed out, and then he somehow recovered and he was back in. So at the end, he he ended up losing, but he has a way of defying gravity. And I have to say, the other days after this, I watched him and I was like, that is maybe one of his special skills, is that he really has incredible balance. So,
yeah, I agree with you. This was really the first time watching him, like really trying to figure out what he's doing. And he's got a very unique style. Like I can already point out.
He's kind of like hunched over and like really closes off like the front of his chest to keep it from being, a target, but he stays really low and then goes low, and
it might be those enormous like Tochinoshin style back muscles that he has,
it may be,
that are already building up. But I like his tachi-ai. It's very unique. Nobody else is doing a tachi-ai quite like he is right now. But I like the way he was moving forward all the way throughout this bout until the very end when he pulled back, and that was the problem. Right? But I liked the forward movement. It's like he was like, I'm here to do my sumo, and I'm going to keep moving forward, and I like it.
Yeah, he was not down for the count at any moment until the very, very last split second. So I was like, okay, he's somebody who just doesn't quit, doesn't give in easily.
And you're right. He went through so many slapdown attempts and didn't fall over.
Did not fall.
Yeah.
So maybe his center of gravity is just, he knows where it is. And so maybe that's his magic.
Good feet. Maybe he just has good feet.
Good feet, perhaps.
Yeah.
You know who I loved is Midori Fuji, who's in apple red.
I like it. It's so pretty on him.
It's like new good luck because
it's like this color.
It is.
You're kind of wearing the color.
It is.
Yeah.
And his name is Midori, which is
green
apple. Not green apple. A Fuji is an apple, though.
Fuji
is a mountain, but
a mountain.
But Fuji apple is an
apple. An apple.
Yes.
So he's like green apple.
Yes.
And he's in red.
Yes.
Somehow
just go with it.
Okay.
Just go with it.
Okay.
Don't judge it. Just
Christmas
go with
colors.
it.
I was going with Christmas colors.
I just know that Fuji makes me think of apple, and then his belt was apple red. So that's where my brain went. Okay. But I thought it brought him new momentum. He beat Shonan Naomi. That's all you need to know. New color, new energy. Yeah.
Okay.
Easily defeated a much bigger guy. But yeah, let's go to Oshoma and Hakuoho. I have had a week. Hakuoho did really good job at the edge.
I like him. I really like him.
He was initially like rushed to the edge by Oshoma because he got a left outside grip. They stalled out in the center, and then Hakuoho has like a deep left grip on Oshoma, and he has his head really dug into Oshoma's basically this chest armpit area, and he looked like, I've got one thing I've got to do in this match that my master told me to do, and my oikata told me to do, and that is to keep my head dug into Oshoma's chest, and it worked. It was an underarm, like it was a shitatanage, I think. It was an underarm throw of some type that ended up happening right there, I think at the edge, or he rushed back on him. See, this is one I should have watched again. Yeah, I don't know. They all at day one, they've already started to meld into each other. I don't know what I'm talking about.
I thought Oshoma looked great in this match, and he had Hakuoho on the edge. Like it looked like Hakuoho was going out, and I loved Hakuoho's spirit, the way he was able to maneuver and stay in that ring with such speed, and so good.
Yeah. He was looking strong and had a game plan, and it worked.
Yeah.
Takayasu versus Takanosho. This was a big tachi-ai. There was quite a bit of a stall out in the center of the doyo. I think that's because Takayasu couldn't really get his preferred grip that he wanted. After a stall out, Takanosho was just like, you know what, let's just get the show on the road. He gets the movement going. Takanosho pulls, that's not really looking so good, but Takayasu stays up. They drive to the edge. There was another attempt. Nothing happens. They lock up forever again in the middle. This was like watching, to me, after watching short sumo, just so incredibly long. And at the end of the match, it was essentially Takayasu that waited it out and tired Takanosho out so that he just plumb wore him out, and it was Yorikiri win for Takayasu. But I mentioned it just because we forget that like Yorikiri is not always easy to earn it, especially when somebody's the same size as you and is probably just as strong as you, has a big belly just like you, and it's about endurance at that point, you know? And Takayasu was like, I'm a veteran. I can wait around and see if I can wear this guy out, because every move I've got, he's got back on me. So let's just see. Chiyoshoma, again, find myself baffled talking about him, but here we are. He looked really strong, and he rushed back and pivoted quickly, pulls a lovely throw easily on Oho.
Yeah, that was a surprise win of day one, I thought. Plus,
And
Chiyoshima has a knee brace on,
yeah,
which doesn't spell great positive things on
right.
day one. He
Well,
seemed to be favoring the other leg.
well, it lined up perfectly because he hoisted Oho out, and that was
A
fun.
hoist.
A hoist.
Okay.
Strong sumo from Daisho versus Gonoyama. I always like this matchup. Gonoyama does huge, huge tachi. Manages to do a huge shove on the shoulder, kind of armpit area of Daisho. And then Daisho just hits the dirt. It was strong, impressive sumo from Gonoyama. But Tsukio Toshi thrust down was that win. But let's jump to Wakamoto Haru versus Koto Zakura. Koto Zakura, if you weren't paying attention from last Basho, he is Karaban. He needs a winning record. And the last tournament, what was he, 5-10? He was just so off his game. This is like a pressure cooker for someone like this. He needs to get his winning record or he'll lose his status as an Ozeki. So everybody is pulling for him for a win. And you want to hope he got his act together, focused in on the practice. And him versus Wakamoto Haru, they tachi-ai, they lock up with Wakamoto Haru getting his preferred grip on Koto Zakura. Koto Zakura has a grip too. Wakamoto Haru waits and then rushes back on Koto Zakura and he's out. So that is a loss, I believe, on day one for Koto Zakura. And everybody goes, it's okay, he's got 14 more days, but it makes people nervous. And then
I thought Koto Zakura had the better tachi-ai in that match.
And we'll discuss later, like on day 3, I saw something similar. There may be something like in his focus in the last bit of the match, something where he just either confidence or is losing some momentum because up top he seems, like he's got a good tachi, got a good focus, got a good game plan, and then just seems to crumble. But anyway, let's move on.
And let's not take away a fantastic win from Wakamoto Haru.
Right.
I mean, once he got his preferred grip, he just drove Koto Zakura back, right. And he's a very good wrestler.
Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Okay, so Hoshoryu, our Yokozuna debutante, we're also pulling for him because this is his Yokozuna debut. And you wonder if they're like, let's set him up with somebody fiery. We don't know how it's going to go. I think Hoshoryu said he made a mistake. I think he just thought it was the game plan from Abi was going to be different because what happened was they tachi-ai'd and Abi went to full facial assault with his thrusts and his nodowa and his smacks, and Hoshoryu just reeled backwards and was out like lickety split. That is not the way he wanted to have his Yokozuna debut match go. But Abi at the same time, maybe he had his game plan in order and it was just a stronger one. And he came out doing exactly what Abi does. And he has a reputation for shaking things up. And that's exactly what he did for Hoshoryu. He just rattled them and was like, I remind you, I am here. This position's not going to be easy for you.
Well, if Hoshoryu was expecting another game plan, I don't know what it was because that's Abi through and through.
Yeah.
That's what Abi does. 2 hands on the neck, run forward. It just worked really well. I don't know why Hoshoryu wouldn't be prepared for that one.
No, that's just what he said after the fact in the news. He said, I think he said he made a mistake, but I think he was expecting himself to be able to get in and under maybe faster.
So his own game plan.
I guess. I don't know. I did not talk to Hoshoryu. He did not pick up my phone when I called.
Well, now Hoshoryu is in a league where if he gets beaten, the other person gets an interview, which would kind of suck to suddenly find yourself in those shoes. Like, if I make a mistake and I lose, that person gets the celebratory interview. And that's what happened with Abi. Mm-hmm. He got that interview. And so it's a whole new world.
Yeah. That's all I have for day 1.
Day 2. Aonishiki, going to give you a quick report. He still hadn't found his rhythm. Truly, on day 2, he stayed low, which was great, but maybe too low, and he got slapped down again and again and again and again by Asakoryu. He tried to recover over and over and over, but Asakoryu was relentless and pushed Aonishiki out from behind after kind of spinning him around. Aonishiki spent that bout on day 2 just trying to regain his balance the entire time.
Yeah.
Not the best, but, just finding his feet. So,
well, it might be a little bit. Yeah. They got to find their sea legs up in Makochi anyways. Yeah. It just takes them a while sometimes to figure out. So wouldn't you first time out being like, this first time dancing with somebody, be like, okay, that was maybe not the best, but next time we dance,
it'll be better.
I'll get the steps better.
It'll be better. I do want to mention Shishi. I'm kind of surprised that you didn't mention him on day one, but I do. What's standing out for me with Shishi is this like warm up at the tachiai maneuver that he has going. This little like
he does a
shimmy,
a Ryuden butt pump.
Yeah, he does like a butt pump, and then on day 2, he got his fingers into the mix. So he ended up looking like this weird Disney villain, like all crunched over, squatting and wiggling. Come on! And I'll have to say it worked for him because he beat Takeda Fuji. So as funny as it seemed to my eyes, there must be a good reason for it. It must keep your hips nice and open or something.
Whatever it takes.
Yeah, he threw a solid belt throw. So yay for Shishi, he got his first win. On day 2, Hakuoho. I'm just always going to mention his wonderful aggressive tachiais. And I just like to see him healthy. I like to see him back. And so loved it. Day 2. On day 2, he beat Nishikigi. There was very little resistance from Nishikigi, but just mention it because Hakuoho. All right. Kimbo-san, after not having a wonderful day 1, he said, okay, he must have gone home and said, you know what, I just got to try something completely different. And he tried a hanka on day 2, which I was surprised by. You know who was not surprised by it? Takeru Fuji, who read it like an open book. And Kimbo-san left himself open with that hanka, and Takeru Fuji just took him right out.
Perhaps he doesn't hanka much, and hanka benefits those who are really fast and also divert attention to the other direction. You know, like a quarterback does. You know, they're going to throw one way, but they're looking another way. I don't know how football works, but actually I do. But maybe it's like that. They have to look like they're going one way, and then they jump the other way.
Whatever happened, all I know is Kimbo-san just came walking back out to make his bow, and you could just read it on his face like, oh shit, y'all, that didn't go the way I wanted it to. Okay, day 3, it'll be a whole new story. Takeyasu just completely pummeled Ura on day 2. And I mentioned not really for the sumo, but because of the ending. Because Ura, as he went flying out, did a somersault and then landed holding the shoulders of Ichi Yamamoto, who was sitting ringside, and they both stopped and peered into each other's eyes.
Yeah.
Like, I have been waiting for you my whole life.
Was it, it was like homoerotic?
I wouldn't call it homoerotic.
Okay,
but it was
like brotherly love?
So friendly.
Oh, it's just like, I got you.
Yeah.
I got you, friend.
I got you, babe. I got you, babe.
Okay.
And it was just a wonderful show of brotherly love that I had to mention.
That's real nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's nice.
Oh, I want to mention on day 2, one of my favorite fights was Wakamoto Haru versus Oho, because I, like many people out there, are watching Oho and wondering, okay, are you gonna be in this like run up for the Basho again, right? You new Sekiwake, how are you gonna do in this position? Oho he has quite the pushing game. He must be terrifying to go up against. And Wakamoto Haru was kind of like moving, trying to get out from behind the pushes. And once he started moving around fast enough and Oho started following him, he could finally slip in, get Oho off balance. Wakamoto Haru got inside and he pulled a suinage to put Oho down. I don't know why I'm surprised by that, but Oho has the size, Wakamoto Haru has the speed, and the speed will often win. And I like it when it does.
Fair enough. It's hot in here.
It is hot in here.
When I'm hot, you may notice me if you're watching the video, I'm starting to yawn. It's just because I'm very warm and comfortable.
Yeah, kind of makes you.
Hopefully we're not putting you asleep, but me, I'm like, oh, just tell me more about Oho.
Okay, a few more to mention on day 2. I'm not going to break this one down. Onosato had a dominant win against Kirishima, looking stable and strong and just making all the right moves. Onosato is. It's only day 2, but boy, is it just a delight to watch. Now, Kirishima report. I know there was an injury in training right before the Basho. What do you know about that?
I don't know anything. I just remember when there was discussion of it, but I can't really remember.
He seems to be moving pretty well, so I don't know if it's an aggravation of the same neck injury or what.
I don't know. I mean, one thing, these guys get injured, it's like the way of a sumo wrestler.
Yeah,
they're all injured all the time. And the only thing that you can't really report on is the fact that their age like helps them heal like crazy quick. And so sometimes these injuries get aggravated, and then sometimes either the guy just gets over it and fights with it until it heals, or it heals quickly. So he's young. He's like 28 or something. So I feel like these guys are healing, but yeah, I don't know. I don't know. They seem to either push through it or they work exercises in between that help them build the muscles up around that injury that help them compensate.
Okay. Well, I'll be watching for it as the rest of the spa show goes on. I'll be seeing how that injury, where the injury.
You do the injury report.
All right.
I like that.
I'll see if I can
injury report
determine where that injury is. I mean, like with Chiyoshima, it's pretty obvious that his knee is injured. I don't know when that happened, but it must have happened right before this spa show began, because I don't remember him having that knee injury.
He's a little older though, so it's like it could be arthritis. A lot of these guys though, a lot of them start to wear the knee braces just because they've been doing the squats for like a long time. So maybe it could just be extra support. And he's like, I'm just at that age where I'm needing extra support. But I didn't see it. Does he walk on it? Does that like favor the other side or something?
You could tell on day 3 that it's really hurting him.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyway, back to day 2. There's 2 more I want to mention. Koto Zakura versus Gonoyama, where Koto Zakura this time hugged Gonoyama, stopped all of Gonoyama's sideways movement. Gonoyama could not escape anywhere. Koto Zakura just walked him out for his first win, and that must have been a huge relief for Koto Zakura on day 2 to finally get that first win.
Yes.
Finally. I shouldn't say finally. It's day 2. It's a perfect time to get your first win. So it was nice to see it. I felt relief watching him. And the last one, Hoshoryu versus Wakataka Kage. Always a good matchup. Because, man, talk about 2 fantastic sumo wrestlers. It's never going to be boring, this one. Hoshoryu simply gave Wakataka Kage no other option. No other option but to go out. And that is exactly what you want from your Yokozuna.
But also, geez, that was strong. I do remember that.
Yeah, he picked Wakataka Kage up.
Yeah,
and out.
I actually thought, oh my gosh, he could have lost his breath with how hard he hit the dirt.
Yeah, you're thinking about day 3. It's so like when you
watch that day 3 that I'm talking about.
When he was flat. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Wakataka Kage had a couple.
One day he went on his butt. Then he fell backwards onto his butt. Y'all, have I had a week?
Well, Wakataka Kage in this one shuffled backwards. He shuffled to the side. Hoshoryu stayed close in a really beautiful way and then picked Wakataka Kage up kind of by like the front of the chest and the shoulders and moved him out. It's sort of like if someone was to stand in front of you and they were like, you're not going this way, you're not going that way. I'm going to have a hand on your shoulder, hand on your chest. You cannot go anywhere else. God damn it. That's what it was.
Whoa, GD.
Yeah, with a GD.
Yeah, it was.
I just thought it was a great day of sumo. Nobody seemed to get hurt on day 2. There were great matchups, and I just couldn't fault anybody for anything. Even the little Disney Shishi villain start. I was like, all right, unusual. Okay.
Yeah, Ryuden used to do that until they put the kibosh on that. They said no more.
Yeah.
So it's just a matter of time before he gets a message from above that says, please drop that pre-bout ritual. We do not like the hip pump.
Actually, my thought was he probably called Ryuden up and was like, okay.
Yeah, how do I get
I do this?
Yeah, how do I get loose?
Yeah, because it really seemed to help you there for a little while. And Ryuden was probably like, "Ooh, I grew out of that phase, but it was helpful for a while, and this is why, and here's how you do it." And you add a little finger waggle.
That's right.
Yeah,
I'm
sure.
That's how it happened. Day 3, Asakoryu. I talked about him.
Yeah.
We talked about him all 3 days.
Isn't that fun? I hope this continues.
Yeah.
Daily talking about Asakoryu.
Completely plowed over Koto Shoho.
Yeah.
And Koto Shoho seems to be a little off his game. Isn't Koto Shoho down in like Juryo at this point?
No.
Or he's like Maegashira 17? He's like really far down. Anyway, that's still... Asakoryu is a much smaller wrestler than Koto Shoho.
Yes.
And that's really the remarkable part. He just plowed over him. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And Aonishiki gets a beautiful win on Sadanoumi, his very first win in Makauchi. So it was a lovely, hefty shitatanage. It was a beautiful throw. Congratulations.
And against a man with so much experience. That's what I thought was so cool about it. It's not like he's fighting somebody who's brand new to this sport like he is. I mean, that's a guy with decades of experience under his belt. That's pretty darn cool.
Midori Fuji beats Nishikigi, so that's 3 wins for our apple red Mawashi. Shona no Umi versus Indo was interesting because basically, I bring it up because it was the match that we ended up having a reversal of fortune, which is I'm always looking forward to.
Yeah, we've had a couple of those.
Yeah, day 1 we had one, and I was like seppuku on the judge, and then day 3 there was like a seppuku on the judge where the call was reversed. But I thought this was so close that they might actually have done a Tori Naoshi, which is a redo, but they didn't. So they initially called it for Shona Naomi, who in like one last effort shove pushed Endo flying out into the crowd. Endo looked kind of like he lost because it was like Shona Naomi, it was his movement that sent him flying. So the Gyoji called it for him. But at the same time, you could see in the slow-mo, Shona Naomi's foot turned over and it hit the dirt right prior to Endo stepping out of the dojo. But I just thought it was interesting because I thought this seems like it's so close that this would be a redo, but it wasn't. They gave it to Endo. Oh, and seppuku for the judge.
You better believe there was a whole judging committee having that discussion in the back.
Yeah.
Probably as they were like snacking on rice crackers or something. They're like, no.
Is he going to disembowel himself now?
Look at his foot is turned over. Oh no, look at Endo's heel.
Yeah. Well, we look forward to the book report he now has to write on why he called that split second difference.
Because they have to do that, y'all.
They
if you didn't know that, if a judge makes an incorrect call, they have to write a letter of apology and basically report on what they called wrong and why.
And like offer retirement.
Yeah.
Like it's a big deal when you mess up a call. So how dare he? Anyway, this was a fun one, even though I worry about Hakuoho. Tamawashi, 40 years old, 40 years young. He crushed Hakuoho like he was a junior high sumo wrestler. He bulldozed him. Hakuoho had no chance. He was reeling backwards. And then afterwards, the best part was Tamawashi peacocked. He peacocked a little bit back over to get his bow from Hakuoho. He was like, yeah, I did it. I did it. The world's sweetest man outside of the dojo. But inside, he is the man of steel.
And he did it with his head, as I recall.
He
like
has no qualms. No qualms about just going completely in.
I mean, that's the type of thing that you see in Hollywood movies all the time. Like run towards someone and bonk them with their head. And that's essentially what he did.
That's what he's going to do post-retirement. He's going to be hired for all headbutts.
Right. Hire that man for a movie.
Or soccer. He's really good. Ura versus Takanosho, I mentioned because this was, very sneaky Ura. He was being pushed out by a fast-moving Takanosho who's just full charge ahead. And Ura, right at the ring's edge, just got a little bit of an arm and then yanked and then pulled out Takanosho with the Totari armbar and got the win. And Takanosho went out of the dojo first as Ura just kind of balanced on the Tawada.
Yeah, it was a pretty move from Ura. What is it going to take for Takanosho to stop with that habit of leaning too far forward?
Well, call him up. Tell him.
Takanosho, lean back, buddy.
This is the one. It was Daisho versus Wakataka Kage.
Oh, yeah.
This one was like, holy moly. Daisho, wow. He came out full thrust, all power, one after another. And Wakataka Kage tried to stay low, but he just couldn't gain anything on Daisho. Daisho was about 3 epic thrusts in, and the last one was dead center on Wakataka Kage's chest.
Yeah,
perfect precision jab. Like he had been hit by in those old, like the movies where they have like in like ye old times, they have like a log that they're getting through the castle door.
Yes.
That's what Daisho's arms were like.
Yeah, that's perfect.
It was
perfect analogy.
That much of power. And then Wakataka Kage just went immediately into the dirt.
Well,
stomach.
His feet just
went crushed.
Feet went out from underneath him.
It was
boom.
A Tsuki Tayoshi win, but it was like
a ram. Yeah, it was like a log ram.
Yeah, it was like.
There's got to be another term for the ram, the log ram.
Yeah, what is the log ram? One of our listeners let us know. What is that called? Like you're watching any movie set in the year 1492.
Yeah, the medieval ages.
Medieval ages.
There's a siege going on. Somebody brings a huge battering ram. That's what it is. It's a battering ram.
Battering ram.
Yeah.
I thought it was a battling ram.
Battering.
Battering.
Like you're going to batter someone.
Batter. Okay, that's what it was.
Daisho, the battering ram.
Yes.
That was perfect.
Yes.
Perfect analogy.
Okay, now this was a reversal of fortune for Abi versus Kotazakura. Kotazakura moves forward up top. He's all over the place, following Abi all around. He's full on attack. He's really actually following him around very, very well. He seemed like he knew what was coming from Abi. He knew he was going to be all over the place.
Oh, Kotozakura was following Abi.
And he seemed to have him in his sights, and then he missed one really big thrust on Abi, and then
biffed it.
Yeah, and then he stumbles forward and then ends up showing his right or left side. I can't remember. He shows his side, which makes you extremely vulnerable because you cannot fight from a sideways position in sumo. And then Abi just does a quick hop, shove, and pop, he's out of the doyo on Kotozakura. So that was sad because I'm still cheering on Kotozakura because I would like for him to be a long reign Ozeki, if not more.
Me too. I'm only laughing because I wrote shoot on my notes. Shoot.
That's how I felt.
I want Kotozakura to win because what that meant is now he's 1-2. Kotozakura is. But on the flip side, can we just say Abi 3-0?
I know.
Abi.
He's up there with Midori Fuji.
You're right. I should say nothing about this, but that's a really good start for Abi.
Yeah.
That's an amazing start. I mean, and like that's an Ozeki. And who else has he fought?
Hoshoryu. Yokozuna.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's fighting higher than him. Yeah, good Lord. That's amazing.
Yeah, that's
good.
He
just needs an M15 to come knock it off.
Right.
Come knock him off his pedestal.
He needs like a Tokushoryu, like come from behind, Maegashira 17, Chiyoshoma or something.
We need Kinbozan to just...
Kinbozan.
Yeah, to take him out.
Yeah.
Come on, Tamawashi, headbutt that boy.
You know who looked good on day 3? Again, Onosato.
Yes.
Completely straightforward, A-game sumo, nothing to say other than he drives forward, and Gonzo was in the dirt.
Gonzo, was that Gonoyama?
Yeah, Gonzo, it was Gonzo. Gonzo was in the dirt, and that it would just looked easy. That is the type of sumo that an Ozeki should do.
Yeah, I'm not going to let you go anywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he did that.
Yep.
Hoshoryu versus Wakamoto Haru. I love the stare down. It was epic.
Yeah.
I don't know if they pre-planned that. They're like, let's look long and hard at each other and be
they're
like,
friends.
Yeah, they're all friends. But there's something that happens in the ring where they're like, we're acting. It's like real, like real fake wrestling. Anyway, post Tachiai, they lock up. Hoshoryu reaches. They both can't get a grip on each other's belt. They're kind of keeping each other off of the belt, but you can see Hoshoryu really reaching for that grab. He gets inside, he grabs the chest and sets up kind of, you know how Hoshoryu swings around, pivots, and aims for a throw. And Wakamoto Haru was going with it. Wakamoto Haru was leaning really well into Hoshoryu. So at that moment, I was like, you know what? This could go either way. He's either going to continue to bulldoze and Hoshoryu's going to hit on his butt on the dirt, or Hoshoryu will get the throw. But what happened was Hoshoryu could sense that Wakamoto Haru was leaning too far, and so he switched from under the arms to over the head, and then he got the kubanage grip and then did a headlock throw, and that worked.
No, it slipped off too.
Yeah, but Wakamoto Haru still went flying.
He did, but because of a boop from behind.
Oh.
Okay, so when I watched this one, I was like, WTF? What the heck was that? Because Hoshoryu grabbed Wakamoto Haru's arm and flung it around in a circle.
He couldn't get it.
And then he lost it, and Wakamoto Haru looked like he was going to win. And so, yes, you're right. Hoshoryu spun and was like, great, I'll do a headlock throw.
Right.
But then his arm went over Wakamoto Haru's head and he lost it, but he kept spinning. So Wakamoto Haru's flying over his back and Hoshoryu's spinning, and he just booped out with his hip. And that's really what did it. It was a hip boop from the back.
I think that the commentators were like, we don't
really know
what to call that. So I actually have to look and see what the official kimarite was on that one. Whatever, all that to say, it was really fun.
They might have given him like a kubanage because it was probably the last throw that he did.
Yeah.
Probably.
Plus, there's no boop.
There should be a butt butanage.
Butt butanage, butiotoshi.
Butiotoshi. Yeah, you're basically...
Butiotoshi.
You're using the propulsion... He was using the propulsion from the turn that was generated in the turn.
Which he does all the time.
Yeah.
He does that all the time.
But it's amazing thinking on the fly. It's knowing where your partner is in space and knowing how to twist and use it to your advantage. It's incredible ring sense. Incredible proprioception. I keep bringing that back. But it is. It's incredible. And that's day 3.
Day 3. That's it, y'all.
Yeah.
It's all very exciting. I'm looking forward to this next week. This next week is when it all starts to get juicy and good. We start to see who's pulling ahead, who has momentum on their side. And that's kind of always fun to see what's the storyline of this tournament.
Yeah, I'm hoping for a lot more shishi villain hip stuff. I'm hoping for Wakamoto Haru shoulder wonderfulness. I'm hoping for Hakuoho aggressiveness. It looks like Onosato is on the road to victory at day 3. We'll see what happens.
Yeah.
Hopefully no one will get hurt. And this will be a fun couple weeks.
That's it. All right, till next week, I am Leslie.
Laurie, see you